Experts say the problem is of epic proportions. All the warning signs were there, but they were ignored for decades. The alarm bells really went off this year, hopefully not too late. The Colorado River, the direct lifeline for more than 42 million people and indirectly for tens of millions more, is in peril.
It's really bad right now, and it's only supposed to get worse next year. We, experts, decision makers, we've known for decades that there is this challenge on the Colorado River. We've known that we take more water out of the system than the river can actually supply. Like, we've known that.
In the western United States, water is the new gold, the most sought-after commodity. For states like Utah and Wyoming, for Arizona, California, for Nevada, New Mexico and Colorado, water, or the lack of it, has become a huge problem. The same goes for dozens of Native American tribes and communities of indigenous people. All face harsh water cutbacks and tremendous challenges in the future. Things are so bad, the federal government stepped in. Washington, D.C., the Department of Interior, and its Federal Bureau of Reclamation. In an audio-only press conference, a sound assessment of what is now slugged a drought or water crisis, and of what has become a top priority for the White House.
The prolonged drought afflicting the West is one of the most significant challenges facing our communities in our country. Right now, almost 93% of the western United States is experiencing drought or abnormally dry conditions, with more than 70% of the western United States experiencing severe or extreme drought conditions.
Those prolonged drought conditions manifest even in the Rocky Mountains. Global warming and climate change make for very mild winters that don't produce enough snowmelt anymore for the Colorado River to carry downstream into Lake Powell, Lake Mead, or beyond.
The Colorado River Basin is in its 23rd year of a historic drought. Both Lake Powell and Lake Mead, the two largest reservoirs in the United States, are at historically low levels, with a combined storage of 28% of their capacity. The system is approaching a tipping point, and without action, we cannot protect the system and the millions of Americans who rely on this critical resource.
We're meeting with Christian Gerlach, a community activist and senior representative of national environmental organization, the Sierra Club. Christian wants to show us a place called Echo Bay, within what is known as Lake Mead National Recreational Area, just a few miles east of Las Vegas.
Hardly anybody ever comes really to Echo Bay, unfortunately. It was a very popular spot, so popular, in fact, it had an airport. But as you can see, the water levels dropping so dramatically, it's affected the economy of the area. There are not people coming out to visit and recreate as much here in Echo Bay.
Echo Bay is not the only spot falling victim to unprecedented and record low water levels of Lake Mead. From where the water stood in 2008, Mead visitors now must drive almost a kilometer farther until they can launch their boats. Besides, there's only one boat ramp left. Years ago, there were 12. The marina, once a bustling hotspot for boaters and water sport enthusiasts, has more mostly empty parking spaces than ever before. At Lake Mead, created by the Hoover Dam, one can see and experience what it means when experts say the system is at a tipping point.
I would be concerned. I mean, it seems lower than average, and I think global warming has something going on with it.
Christina Taub, a flight attendant from Germany, also visits Hoover Dam. She's alarmed by what she observed.
I think the bell should have rang a long time ago, and it should keep on ringing, and something has to be done about it. Absolutely. It is very dangerously low, and we actually part of a flight crew, so we flew over a few days ago, and just to see it also from above, from 40,000 feet, I can show you pictures. It's unbelievable.
Mead's water level shrank by a whopping 150 plus feet in the last 40 years. An ever-growing so-called white bathtub ring here and at other reservoirs will have devastating effects for all U.S. states in the lower Colorado River Basin, for tens of millions of people, and hundreds of thousands of businesses in Nevada, Arizona, California, and even in Mexico.
The impacts we're seeing from climate change are I think, most people agree, are happening quicker than we would have expected. and things, the impacts of snowpack translating into flows in the river are being impacted by climate change. Things like soil moisture, temperatures, evapotranspiration, all these little mechanisms, all these little components to the hydrologic cycle here in the West are being tweaked by climate change.
We're on track to see additional drops in the water levels to the point to where it's scary. We may face what is called deadpool, where water will not even flow out of Lake Mead further down the Colorado River system.
No shortage of water in so-called Sin City. The expansive water fountain display in front of Las Vegas' iconic Hotel Bellagio is just one example. Water waste? Not so fast. Las Vegas, boomtown and self-declared entertainment capital of the world, is in fact top of the line when it comes to water recycling, preservation and conservation.
So places like Las Vegas have actually done amazing efforts in terms of water conservation. If every city that relied on Colorado River water would do what Las Vegas has done, our cities would be in a much better spot. Las Vegas has really been a leader when it comes to water conservation. So things like the pools you're looking at, like the big fountains in front of the Bellagio, that's recycled water. That's not potable water.
In Las Vegas, pictures like this, sprinklers irrigating golf courses or public parks, won't make for a lot of fuss. All water used is recycled, reused over and over again. In the city's suburbs, homeowners rip out the grass in their front and backyards and replace it with gravel and fake grass. Throughout the city, so-called non-functional turf grass is banned now. Most areas of turf that require a lot of irrigation have been replaced.
The Southern Nevada Water Authority has taken tremendous steps toward reducing the water usage. In the past 20 years, the state of Nevada has seen tremendous growth in the Las Vegas Valley, but we've actually seen a decrease in our water usage thanks to programs that help people take out their water-thirsty lawns.
That's good news, of course, and those measures are critically important. However, they won't make a difference big enough to create change on a larger scale, needed to prevent even worse drought and water conditions in the future.
We do need to make hard cuts. That's the fundamental solution on the Colorado River, is we have to use less water. And the scale of how much we need to use less is millions of acre feet. So the Colorado River on average in the last 20 years has supplied like 13 to 14 million acre feet per year. 13 to 14 million acre feet. The Bureau of Reclamation, who manages the system, is telling us we need to cut 2 to 4 million acre feet. So that's like 15 to 30% of how much water we use on the Colorado River needs to be cut immediately. So that's a lot of water. That's a big scale.
Experts warn that only unprecedented big-scale water use reductions, strict water conservation, and ultimately the decarbonization of our economies will secure the Colorado River as a life source for tens of millions of people and for hundreds of thousands of businesses.
We've got to decarbonize our economies. We've got to address the situation of the carbon cycle, which is intricately linked to the natural water cycle. There is tremendous amounts more carbon in the atmosphere than there was several decades ago, and that trend continues on. And as we see that, we will see additional heat waves. We will see additional heat urban island effect in suburban areas where we do have more asphalt. When it rains, especially here in Las Vegas, a lot of asphalt funnels the water towards Lake Mead, but a lot of it is lost due to evaporation. It no longer penetrates the water table. So it's all an interconnected system, and we've got to take a look at how our developed society is currently operating to make those changes.
Making those perhaps painful but strongly needed changes is not a can-do any longer, but a must-do, experts say. Otherwise, the mighty Colorado River is feared to become not much more than a puddle rather